Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning to everyone. I selected the value of client insurance review evaluation. And the reason why I do it, most of my topics usually are because of literally life experience out in the field with clients. A few weeks ago, I received a phone call from one of my dear clients from a long time. And by the sound of her voice, I sensed a concern. And sure enough, there was concern. Her husband had passed away, and she wanted to let me know. And of course, she had the question about what was the life benefit amount. I did the research. I called her back, and I indicated that exact amount. And the statement I'm getting ready to say to you and the question I'm going to say to you is probably the single number one most important reason that we as agents should do these reviews and evaluations. And here's the question, quote, I thought he had more than this, unquote. Meaning, I wish he had more than this. Well, it is what it is, and it was what it was. And though I had just recently been to his house and visited with him, he declined adding to the coverage. Now, one of the things I will say to you, the wife was not present the day I went to do the review, although I had asked her or asked where she was. Probably should have reset it. But yet what I did was I went over it with him, and he pretty much was emphatic about keeping what he had. Who knows? Perhaps if she was there, just like we don't do one-legged presentations on new business, we should never do a one-legged on a review, because the wife, obviously, the beneficiary at hand here, could have been instrumental in bringing him to see it from her perspective, but let's get more business. And, one of the things I typically say, too, and I always say to my clients when I do a review and realize that this is what they have now, the $5,000, $10,000, the $15,000, I'll say, I commend you for what you have and what you've done today, or what you did back 3, 4, 5 years ago, I should say, is great. The problem is people are living longer now than ever before. And what $5,000 or $10,000 will spend today, it will not have the spending power as years go by. As you know, Mr. and Ms. Jones, I didn't bring a crystal ball here in front of you on this table. You don't see one. So I can't tell you. There's obvious seen expenses you'll have, but there are those unseen expenses. And, in this case with her, it could have very well been that she was looking for more for income replacement, which I usually hit that pretty strong. But the benefits of the review, having said that testimonial, you feel free to use that testimonial because it is the truth, and I am using it, and it's given me a greater fire in my belly to help people who have X amount of dollars and that should have more. Keep the benefit of the review is this. It does keep that love light on burning. You may not always add more business, but you'll keep the business you have. If you meet with a client, see the client, review not only your policies, your business, many times as you go and see people and they say they have business, 1 and 2, you should ask for the policies. Tell them to bring it out. They'll either have it for real, or they're just giving you a little smoke screen, or they'll bring out the policy and you're going to find some value to that policy, or you're going to find that the policy is not accurate or the application was completed incorrectly. In the business, we call it clean sheeting. And the veteran agents know what that means. That means where an agent stated no's when they should have made yes. And I've seen that. I've seen people smoke cigarettes, and yet the policy they had shows an application where it was no. Or they had a COPD condition, it was marked no. We will find that in the review, and it's important to us to let these people know that because of the contestability period. And many times I've had to replace that business. They were willing to pay more, but they wanted the truth on the application. It was the other agent that was trying to lowball it. The third opportunity would be, of course, so number one, it keeps the love life going. Number two, opportunity to update and to review and find some flaws in another policy. Three, great opportunity for referrals. My goodness, if you go see somebody, you're going to circulate and create and stir up their activity of referrals and client contacts and and potential clients for you down the line. Number four, obviously, it clears a misunderstanding. One of my own clients, I did a review, and I'll tell you why I did the review. I got a statement from a carrier that says it was NSF, which I do appreciate when we do receive those notices from the carriers. So I contacted the lady. Of course, the lady's number was changed. I took the time to go to her house. She had a $25,000 whole life policy that she bought about 8 years ago. She was going to drop it. Why? Because in her head, she thought, I got a term policy. I don't think I want that term. Well, I had to review the policy with her and say, brought the carrier on the line, got them to take a new payment again, and got the carrier to verify with her on the phone that, no, ma'am, you've got a pure, permanent whole life policy. With that, she says, fantastic. It was like rewriting the sale again. All I did was retain business just by reviewing. Fifthly, you might be able to offer a second product. We've got Medicare supplements. We've got Medicare Advantage. It might be a dental plan. Other business, as Joe Chacho likes to say, it kind of keeps all the business in one house with you, the agent. So that's been a great opportunity as well. Now, one seminar, and I'll mention this as a sixth point, that I attended years ago, they said, you should touch your family in person or on phone at least every 90 days. Now, that may be a lot. That may be too often to some people, but again, the purpose for touching them is to kind of keep the competition at bay, because you know and I know that as we're out and about, they're receiving cards on a continuous basis. Somebody is trying to find a way to get into that home and possibly take away your business. Keeps the competition out. In reviewing policies, at any time you do, you are solidifying the business you wrote. And you're, again, offering yourself the opportunity to add more to what they did. And I guarantee you, they will thank you. It may not be today. They may feel the pain of reaching into their checkbook for yet an additional premium, but at some point down the line, I assure you, guys and gals, they're going to be glad. I often say to people, and this is the truth, I do not know of any family that has ever sent back a check back to the carrier, back to the insurance company, and said, you know what, guys, I really don't need this money. You all can keep it. That money will be used. That money will be spent. That money will pay bills. So kind of look at it that way. I often tell people, I say, well, I'm going to be very upfront with you. If I find that you have a decent, good whole life policy that you took out 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, and you were 6 years younger, and you may have been in a better state of health, and you've gone past the contestability period, I would do a terrible disservice if I touched or tampered with that policy. But what I will tell you is keep what you have, because in reviewing it, it's solid. But again, that $10,000 will not spend as much later. So let's consider adding to it. And sometimes I often give them a comparison, like it doesn't matter how many bank accounts you own. You can have bank account A, bank account B, bank account C. When you need the money, you knock on each of those doors, and they'll give you the money that you have in it. Well, that's how the insurance business works. You can have as many companies as you want to. What we strive to do at Equita is provide you the benefit of a company that's going to be tailor-made for you. Based on our years of research, we know how to work with people between 50 and 85. And that reassures them that, because you don't want them to say, well, I'll just add it with a company I had. If it's a company you aren't contracted with, and you're kind of out of luck. So you want to try to indicate to them that we are going to find you something that's even more personalized, directly for their needs and for their concerns. So I hope I've made my point and the value of it. I often think of my contact who called me here a few weeks ago and told me about her spouse, and I can't do anything about what has happened there, but I can help the next family with added coverage and a solid, good review. I'll open it up to questions or any comments, Chase, if you would like at this time.
Thank you, Jack. If anybody has a question or a comment they'd like to throw out there based off of the topic that Jack just did a great job going over, you can hit *2 on your line. That'll raise your hand. We can get you unmuted, and you can contribute in any way you'd like, either with a question or with a comment. And, *2. Of course, we've got a hand raised already, and it is the awesome Mr. Tommy Schubert. Go ahead, Tommy.
Hey, Jack, how you doing today?
Hey, Tommy, I'm doing great. Thank you.
No problem. Hey, guys, I'm sure there's a lot of people on the call that are, wondering, what do you do when you got your policy out there on the books and you've got another wise, hip, cool agent that comes in the home and wants to try to replace you, and you get that notification from the carrier, from EFES, for, policy conservation opportunity. Can you kind of walk us through what you do to try to conserve that policy?
Yes, great question, Tommy. At that point, I know what I have to do. I pretty much have to go back and re-present the plan that I offered them, because obviously I don't know what that other individual said that may have been true or not true. So at that point, I am going to go directly to their home. I'm going to let them know, and I kind of